Hi everyone, you're listening to What's Your View with me, Oludolakbo. This podcast was created as a space for real life people with real life experiences that most of us can relate to it and learn from. So if you're a lover of rich conversations, then grab a drink or a snack or nothing really, and let's get into it. So on today's episode, I have with me a friend. I actually had been following her on Twitter, but I finally got to meet her January this year. So madam, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hello everyone, my name is Tolu Adeleke. I am Dr. T on Twitter.
On Twitter, yeah.
And, that's not even my article, but Dr. T is what people know. Dr. T as in T-E-E. And yeah, it's nice to be here.
Yeah, you're welcome. So yes, so guys, on today's episode we'll be talking about this topic or this title, what living alone is teaching us or has been teaching us individually. And I trust Tolu is gonna do justice to this big time.
Why?
Because I feel like she has actually been living alone
For
way back before I started living alone. Since then, you've been living alone since then?
It's been pushing on 2 years now that I've been alone, but I've had a lot of moments in my life where, I was kind of alone, maybe for like a few months. But officially, October will make it 2 years since I started living on my own.
Well, so practically for me, I started living alone January. Yeah, January this year, 2021.
So you're still very young.
I'm still very young, but between that, like 8 months now. Yeah. I've learned quite a lot, and I think that's what inspired this title, this topic.
Yeah.
So. Let's get into it straight up. Okay, so before we go into what we have here, I think Tolu should tell us what living alone has actually taught her before we go deep into it.
Living alone is a school of its own. It has taught a lot, but I'll say the first thing living alone has taught me is that you can't and you shouldn't allow just anyone have access to you. So not everyone is welcome in your space. There are people that you can meet outside, acquaintances. Oh, this one is nice, this one can come, but you don't let everyone into your space because your space is like your private heaven. It shows a lot about you. So some people don't deserve that access, and especially as a lady, I have kind of learnt the hard way. I don't even want to start sharing stories of why it is important to self-preserve. And I think even for young men in this day and age, you need to know that there are a lot of people out there that are looking for whom to devour. Yeah. Literally. And devour, I use it in a loose term because it doesn't necessarily have to mean like anything sexual or anything. But some people, they are just out to put you in trouble. And you need to. There was a time that I had this friend that said he didn't allow female people enter. He's a guy that his apartment, and I used to be like, I showed you one, and it doesn't have to be like that for you, right? But I had a personal experience where someone had told me that he had issues and he was waiting for a cab guy to come pick him up, and I was like, okay, fine, come and see me and just wait the while. And while we were inside the house, this man pinned me to the wall, and I'm like, hey, now me do myself, and if anything had happened, the first question would be like, hey boy, you're the one that opened your door.
You invited him.
And in fact, sometimes it's just jealousy. People from work or anything, you could just allow someone into your house and they'll start saying, is it not you that has that kind of TV? You're not telling me you don't have money. So really, living alone will teach you that your house is your safe haven, and not everybody should be in it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So what do you think?
So basically for me about living alone, I think the major thing I've learned so far is you have to be intentional about every single thing you do. I mean, because every single decision you make, you are responsible for the outcome.
Word.
Okay, so let me give an instance. So there was a time I traveled with my boss, and I left my tap open. And
I know how the story ends.
I got back and the old room was flooded already.
Titanic.
So that's not even like the real life part of the story, but there are bigger part of the decisions you have to make that can actually mar you if you're not very careful. So over time I've just got to realize that, bro, your decisions matter a lot, and you just have to be very careful with whoever influences your decision, what you listen to, whom you watch or what you watch, because these things have the capacity to even mold how you see yourself and how you see other people and how you interact with life generally. So that's it for me. That's basically the first thing for me. What about you? What do you think again?
I think another thing that living alone will teach you is budget. That you cannot do more than yourself.
That's right.
So I remember being at home, as in my house, we have this rule where at a certain time the gen comes on. When the gen is not on at that time, I'll start to complain. Why is the gen not on?
Yeah, right.
Then there was this moment when I started living alone. This was around last year or something. My mom just called me in the night and she was like, no lights. And I'm like, She was like, on the gen. And I'm like, there's no money. And she laughed and she was like, so you say if you can say no money,
there's no money,
yeah. Because really, except for those who still have like external funding from like maybe parents,
I'm going to talk about that because
and all of those things. But when you are actually financially responsible for yourself, you understand that it's not every time you want ice cream you will buy it. Sometimes we are me and be all right. You know,
I think for me on that aspect, when I came in January, it was tough to a very large extent because I just started living alone January, and over time I've always been living with people, and it's like maybe someone is like footing this bill, and that person is footing this bill. So the only thing that I was just spending money on is, in fact, when I was like living with someone as a last year, 50% of my salary was going into my savings, and the remaining 50%, like 10% out of that 50% was going to like family, a friend, or a lady I was speaking with, at the time, that kind of thing. But now, bro, I have to like budget, like savings this percentage, tithe this percentage. I have access to car and Abiokta, so I have to like, what if anything goes wrong with the car? I have to like foot the bill. I have to do all of this. So there is a lot to like budgeting when you're living alone, and that's how it has been for me basically. And
I agree. Budgeting is, if that's the only thing that you can learn from this thing, living alone will teach you financial responsibility.
Yeah. And another thing I got to realize is that with all my budgeting, to a very large extent, at least twice now, I've taken out of my savings. Not because I really wanted to, but because I had no option. And I'm not the type that would like to like, bro, please send me money.
Urgent 2K.
No. I don't have the courage to like face anyone to like.
You realize that life is not black and white. There are unforeseen circumstances. Your car can break down.
In fact, there were months when I did not save anything.
Saving, Kashamadu.
And I realized at the first time I had the experience, I was actually like killing myself. You were supposed to save. Why don't you save? The same me after like 2 hours will come and say, bro, you had to undo this. So like you are justified. So like that's like
because
that's
life,
it for me.
Life can happen. There are times that one pumping can come, we just spoil it. The house.
Another thing, the landlady or the landlord will just come and say, the lock, we have to do this in the house, or we have to change the lock of the gates. You have no option because you don't want to be put to shame now, so you just drop the money.
Everybody
so that's
you don't want to be the problematic neighbor.
So you just have to drop.
Yes. So, another thing would be building your inner strength in times of weakness, loneliness, and boredom. And
that's a deep one.
You never understand the power of being alone until temptations come. It's easy for you to ward off temptations. I don't know about other people, but when you were in uni, it seemed like everything was easy peasy lemon squeezy. Like, how can you fall? How can you falter? And you think of yourself as in the most.
You're right.
But there's something about being alone that suggestions just become more attractive. Things that you ordinarily would not have considered. So somebody calls you and is like, let's go to so and so place. Normally, you will never
consider that.
But then you consider yourself, I'm alone in this house. I've not done anything.
This is money.
Let's just go. I'm in the world, but not of the world. That's how they start to. So you actually find yourself for a lot of us, you find yourself making decisions that it will scare you. And then you have to start to balance the reality of adulting, boredom. For some of us that are not in states where our friends are, you have to deal with the looking for new friends. And not all your friends will come with the same value system that you had before. And you are caught in between saying, okay, do I want to be alone? Do I want to do life alone? Or do I want to just step out, experience things? It can even start to play out as depression because you just be sad. Everybody's going out on a Friday night and you're looking at yourself saying, where am I going to go? Who do I know? I want to buy something. And for some of us that are more relational than others, there are some people that really like to be around people. There are some that they are good by themselves. They've always been. If you're good by yourself, maybe living alone could be like your best. But For some people, you won't feel like,
we've never been in that space before.
Do you understand? Maybe I should get a pet. Maybe I should get a... it's not good for man to be alone, no. Or woman.
I think the Bible is actually right.
And it's not even about marriage. I remember being alone at a point where COVID just started.
Okay.
And then I had like symptoms of COVID. So they isolated me at work. They told me to go home. And so I was inside my house for 2 weeks straight. I did not step out. God of mercy. I don't, in that season, I feel like my emotional health took a hit because I was so alone. I think bored.
Everybody had a series of one thing or the other.
That just, you understand. Yeah. And there are some people that will come and be preaching all this sermon of you are alone, but you are not alone.
Yeah.
See, when you live alone, you realize that,
to be honest, it
is easier said than done.
I think the way it actually eats me is that the early part of staying alone for me, I was always bored. So I try as much as possible to do something, do this, pick your laptop, try to do something, create a Google Doc, think of something, do it. And I think it was like that for me because of where I was coming from. Yeah. My former boss is this kind of person that, what are you doing? You're sleeping, get up, do something. I had that image in my head all through the first 3 months when I was living alone. Why are you sleeping? Do this, do you get? So I was really, really hard on myself for a very long part of that phase for me, of the early part of staying alone for me. Over time, I just had to tell myself that, listen, you have a job you are doing, have a schedule, you have personal things you want to achieve, put pen to paper and have a plan and do it. So you don't have to be hard on yourself. Talking about the temptation part, right, for me, the only way I was able to distract, or I've been able to distract myself basically, is having video call with people. So when I'm
video calls get grade though. There's some kind of video call that is risky.
Yeah, that's risky. So I make sure that my call is with someone I know that even if I'm vulnerable, this person will not be vulnerable at that time or something. So
but you have never video called me.
Because we usually say we always that kind of thing. So so that's how that phase has that part of living alone has been for me.
Yeah, I think that's also a very valid point. So another thing I think living alone has taught me is that you have to just be intentional about creating a happy space for yourself. So
You're right.
I remember when I moved in. So I've lived in 2 different places. The first house I lived in was just depressing. Everything was just small and tiring, and someone just spoke to me one day because the person kept seeing me and saying that, you don't look happy, you don't look this, you don't look that. And I'm just like, I don't even know, Jerry. I don't like to feel like when you want to go home, you are sad, And then it took me moving to a new apartment and manipulating the environment, changing the colors of the walls, the inspirational quotes on the wall, things around me, such that home feels welcoming.
Yeah.
You understand? And in your parents' house, you really don't have much of an influence over those things, right? But it will shock you how your environment affects your mood.
Yeah, not just your environment. I mean, that's your safe space.
Exactly.
So
your own haven.
I think one of the things I considered before getting the apartment is the fact that I need a place that anytime I get to the gate, I'm glad I'm home. The gate. And anytime I open my door, I'm glad I'm inside this room.
Yeah.
So the first thing I considered, okay, I love the color white, the white color, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like, this color in this room, I'm not convenient with, I'm not comfortable with. So I had to change it to a color that it's placing to my own brain, to my mindset. So I think one of these things were the things I did that made it easy for me to build joy personally, other than relying on somebody or social media or a particular book or something.
Yeah, and honestly, it's not even in the expensive things, right? Because some people feel like, who get money for these things when they talk? It's not about, and when I first got into my place, I had a list of things I wanted to do. I wanted to put wallpaper, I wanted to put rug, I wanted to change curtain. And somebody had said, you better calm down. You better be calming down. You can't do it all at once. So you just paint a picture in your head. I would like to have this. And as you have the financial capability each day, you change something. Okay? If the first thing and the most important thing for you
part is financial part to talk about.
It's still part of the budgeting thing. But
because you actually cannot do everything at once.
Yes.
So you're now, in the month of March, okay, I'm going to get this. This is a priority in the month of March. This is a priority in the month of April. I've actually been doing that over time.
Exactly. And over time, you just realize that no matter what is happening outside, when you get home, at least there's some level of peace. Look at your space, and if there's anything I can tell anybody, before you move into a house, at least, even if your budget cannot carry too much, let it be a place that you are comfortable coming home to. Honestly, don't just pick houses just because I cannot be on the road, except it is absolutely beyond your control. Honestly, your space affects your mood greatly. So that's what I think.
I think the last part on my side that I would like to talk about is carefully and wisely choose your inner circle. That's really, really important for me, because coming to Abeokuta, when I was in Abeokuta during NYC, I had friends, but most of us left already immediately after NYC. And now coming back this year, I practically do not have anyone I would say, this person is my close friend, right? That I can easily welcome to my house, or I can easily go to his house, that kind of thing. So it was really like a big deal for me when I got to Abeokuta, because I had to carefully choose my inner circle. And I think doing that has really helped me to it has helped my mental health, because those I chose to be my inner circle are people who are actually like in the same space I am, people who think deep, people who are ready to challenge you to like do better in life. And funny enough, you're one of them. So.
Thank you. I try.
So I think that's even what even led us to be this close, that made us to be this close, because we actually like realized that we talk about things that are really, really deep, and it has been helpful.
I think I would like to redefine that and just say find community. That's what it is, because you can't do life alone. And community does not have to be someone that you are reading Bible with every day. Sometimes it could just be someone that you like to cook with. You know, like I have a friend that we bonded over cooking, because I really like to cook. And even Dolak herself, we bonded over him liking to eat food.
Eat food.
You understand? So it could just be something like a hobby, places you go to. I like to swim. I like to play tennis or something. So that even when life is giving you books, you have an outlet. You know, when you're at home, there's TV to watch, your parents will call you. So in between everything, your time will go somehow. But when you're alone and you get back home after work and all you do is sleep, wake up, and there's no community, there's nobody to just randomly pop in your house and say, how far now? Let's go and buy this.
Let's go and this. Like the other night.
Like let's go. Like we just went on and then let's drive. And we still did not buy the shawarma. You know, it can just be. It just helps life. You know, it's for some. It's just finding a hobby, because not everybody is like a people person. You know, so in that case, get a hobby. If you like to knit, start knitting. If you like to. The amount of things, like now I started swimming. I didn't like water before, in fact.
But
it's not even like, it was just something to take me out of the house, to make me, feel more comfortable with my own space and all. But by and large, would you recommend living alone for anybody?
Yes, I will, because I think it's that phase you need to put a whole lot of things together about yourself. You learn emotional strength. You learn how to like budget carefully and diligently. You learn how to say no to people, or to suggestions, or to suggestions from people and from yourself. You learn how to like be firm with yourself and with decisions you're making, because on the long run you will be the victim or the victor of whatever decision you are accepting into your life. So you have to be very, very careful. So I think I'll suggest to anybody to live alone.
For me personally, I suggest it especially to females,
really?
Because in the life of the average young man, there's still a certain level of freedom in your parents' house, you know, that you get to go out and do everything. But as a woman, there's a tight fist. Most homes, they are holding on to you.
In Africa.
They are telling you, they don't go out after this time. You come home, people are giving you instructions. And especially for those of us who are not fortunate to have gone to like public universities, you find out that you really don't know enough about yourself. You think you are cool, you think you can handle everything, you think you can budget,
until the reality begins to dawn on you.
Until you are actually alone and you realize, how does this work? How can I do this? And it just helps you as a person. You develop a strong sense of self when you are on your own. And let me also be honest, being alone can sometimes make you dive deep. Like you will fall to the bottom and you will stand up again. So it's another type of should I say self-awareness and discovery.
That phase of staying alone, you will discover a whole lot of things about yourself.
You will find new things about yourself.
You will make mistakes. You will stand up, and when you stand up, you are standing up strong. Like that's how it is for me.
That's so 10 over 10 recommend, please. And if you have enough money, get a very nice place.
To be honest,
in all that getting,
get a very nice place. Thank you so much, Tolu, and it's nice doing this with you today. And I look forward to having more episodes with you.
I
look forward to more of our night drive around Abeokuta City.
As far as we pay, what's my own?
All right, thanks so much,
All
and
right.
catch you guys later. Bye.